now available in paperback and e-readers. Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. There is reportedly some sort of YouTube hit list against black men. And one of the people who is circulating this hit list against black men is supposed to be a Christian. Now, when I think about this person who says they are a Christian and they say they're circulating this hit list, that runs contradictory to the Word of God I read on the regular. Now, when Jesus was having disagreements with people like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, he addressed his disciples to, if these people disagree with you, to shake the dust off your feet and walk away as a testament to them. Now, if this person was a Christian and followed the Word of God like I do, when I see people who I disagree with, they would see these videos and channels of black men, and what they would do is shake the dust off their feet and as a testimony to them and move on. And in the case of the internet, what they would do is they would hit the red X and they would keep it moving. But because these women do not follow Christ, what they do is they're going to wage a campaign against black men, just like your Pharisees and your Sadducees waged campaigns to go against Jesus, looking for ways to try to make him look like a hypocrite and a liar. However, the irony was, in their campaigns to try to go against Jesus, they wanted proving to everyone how much of a hypocrite and a liar they were, because they weren't following the true Word of God. They were not following the principles that God put in His Word. What they were doing was using the Word of God to pretty much fit their narrative and their view of things, and to win favor with men, just like these women are trying to do with social media. They want to use the platform of social media to push their narrative and their agenda, and they want to push their viewpoints down everybody's throat. And if you present a counterpoint to their viewpoints, what they want to do is try to have you removed from the social circle. This is no different than their behaviors when they were in junior high school, because in junior high school, these same women, when they were little girls back in the mid-1980s, they would create these social cliques, and in these social cliques, they would say they were going to dictate who ran the school, who controlled the school, and who controlled where people could go. Now, I look at that behavior in regular society, and we call that fascism, and we also call it elitism. And the reason why we call it elitism is because you have an elite group of people saying they're going to dictate what would be considered black content on social media. And it's called fascism because they're going to try to use their power to try to impose their will on others. Now, we live in the United States of America, a democracy. And in a democracy, people have the constitutional right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. And black men were given this constitutional right in the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment, those same rights after the Civil War. And because black men have those rights, they have a right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression on social media. And if anyone tries to infringe on those rights, black men, again, need to take action to defend their constitutional rights. But when I look at these individuals, again, I see them not following just not only the standards of the U.S. Constitution, but the God that they say that they serve. These people say that they serve the living God. They follow the principles of Jesus and the Word of God. And yet you're going to create a hit list to go against black men. Again, proving how they do not follow the Word of God, because the Word of God, one, says that women are pretty much supposed to submit to male authority. And when your female is sitting there saying she's going to create a hit list and then says she's a Christian, that is contradictory to the same Word of God she says she reads in her Bible every day. Again, if you disagree with these men, again, your option is to shake the dust off your feet, the same way Jesus shook the dust off his feet and in several towns that would not receive him. He just walked away and went to those who would receive him and would receive his message. He did not say, I'm going to go to war with people. Even when Jesus was pretty much was betrayed by Judas and captured and then taken to Caiaphas's house, when Peter drew the sword to smite the guy and cut off his ear, Jesus went and healed the man's ear and said, "I do not go up against people with swords and staves." And that if you're a Christian, that's how you're going to do. You're going to go down Jesus's road. He did not go out and attack others. He presented a positive example of how we're supposed to follow. Now, I would think a Christian who was Christ-like, that would and wanted to be like Christ, would be following that same principle. They would be sitting here saying, you know what, I'm not going to put some hit list of people I disagree with on social media. What I'm going to do is, as an individual who I disagree with, what I'm going to do is hit that red X, and then I'm going to keep it moving, because I wouldn't want anyone to put me on a hit list. Again, following the word of God and God's 2 commandments, where he said to love your neighbor as you love yourself, and to love the Lord with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your spirit. Now, a follower of God, again, who loves the Lord with all their heart and their spirit, is going to follow that one commandment and the second one, because they fulfill the law of God. And again, Jesus himself said, "You do unto others as you would have done unto you." I don't create hit lists to create campaigns against other people, because I don't want campaigns created against me. I believe in free speech. I believe in the U.S. Constitution. And I believe that First Amendment is there for a reason, because people need to have the right to express themselves. That is one of the guaranteed rights under the Constitution. They have the right to free speech. And when you go on a public platform, you are going to hear opinions you don't like. You're going to hear viewpoints you don't like. And you have an option, again, to hit that red X and keep it moving. Unfortunately, many in the African American community do not understand this. And the greatest irony of this is that in the African American community, one of the most oppressed states in the United States, we have people who really do need free speech, are the ones, and said they are fighting for it, are the same ones who pretty much are going out of their way to oppress others when they try to express their freedom of speech. These same people do not understand how many people fought and died for you to have the right to come on a platform like this and express your opinions, because you didn't have these rights back during slavery, because after Nat Turner led his slave rebellion, there were efforts led in campaigns to deny black people the right to read, deny black people the right to write, deny black people the right to education, deny black people the right to even own things like newspapers or even paper to write on. So when I look at somebody writing a hit list against black men, I clearly see someone who does not only understand the Word of God, but does not even understand their own history or the context of their behavior as it relates to their own history. This type of behavior I've seen since I was 12 and 13 years old in junior high school is part of that social fascism that pretty much is permeated in the black community for the last 25, 30 years. And black people have to go out and fight against it, because if this type of fascist pretty much can take the rights of black men away, they're going to go after other black groups in the black community who they feel they have a disagreement with, or who are not walking lockstep in that ragdoll dance, entranced to fit their view down the road they want to go down. Because after they go after black men, I guarantee you they're going to go after black women who disagree with them, black goths who they don't have a beef with, black alternative people, and the list will go on and on. Because once they start at the radius of black men, that circle is going to expand, because that's how social cliques operate. They want to be the elite group who dictate the terms and control over everyone. And this is what I wrote in my novel Spellbound, regarding the Matilda Crowley character, who pretty much was being tormented by black women because she was biracial and these females had an issue with her. This is how insane these behaviors are. When people start creating hit lists, that it shows us that these are people who really in America need to be dealt with. And on social media, I would urge, YouTube's managers and executives to take a long, hard look at these flagging patterns and flagging campaigns, because again, The groups that you start out with this group will expand into larger groups, and once they expand the circle all the way out, then you're going to see a complete collapse of the social media platform. And instead of people talking to each other, what you're going to have is what happened with MySpace, a place where there are no friends and no one is interacting with anyone, because these people like these people relating these hit lists have turned it into an elite place where there's nobody there but these elitists sitting there making the same content, and then these same people will walk away from that same website complaining that there's no one watching their content. Well, there's nobody watching your content because what you did was you drove all the other content providers off who were getting views, and then no one wanted to watch your stuff because it was the same repetitive, argumentative, melodramatic things over and over again. An open platform is open to everyone. And again, if you're on an open platform like a Blogger, a YouTube, a WordPress, or any other website like Vimeo or Dailymotion, and you see opinions you don't like, you have one option, and that is to hit the red X and keep it moving. Because just as you wouldn't want someone to put you on a hit list and take away your right to speak on a public forum, you shouldn't try to take away somebody else's right to speak on that platform. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.